Texas A&M.
Well, this certainly makes sense. The second player from Texas A&M to go today, Coriat, going with the second overall pick to the Colts. This is a well-traveled pick. It was Philly's, it became Green Bay's, it became Atlanta's, now it's Dallas's, and in a pick that's so well-traveled, they've got Kevin Smith, and this certainly, not only is he an excellent player, and probably a pretty good pick at this slot, that's a need pick for Dallas.
Well, he's the cornerback, Chris. You know, he's the only pure corner still there. Dale Carter was somewhat of a projection. Darrell Williams, a pure safety. Dana Hall moving from corner to safety, but Kevin Smith led the Southwest Conference with 20 career interceptions. You see his size there. Also a guy that's been productive. Like I say, with that interception, it shows the hands there, which is something very important for defensive backs. A lot of DBs get their hands on the football, come away with an incompletion. This kid, 20 career pass thefts during his college stay at Texas A&M, and a guy that's all over the field, not only in this capacity, he's also a pretty good return man as well. And a guy that when you match him up against opposing team's top wide receiver, he's capable of shutting that guy down. Dallas didn't have that. They need that now, and certainly Dallas is going to look to draft not only Kevin Smith, but probably at least 2 other defensive backs in the first 3-4 rounds.
As I remember now, Dallas has the 2 first-round picks, and they got 3 picks in the second round, so 5 in the top 40, which costs a lot of money. But Dallas may have saved themselves some money. They would have looked at Kevin Smith with the 13th pick. They slide down 4 spots to 17, still get their guy, save a little bit, and now they'll be able to add to those other high picks that they're about to have. The 49ers are next on the clock. We'll be back.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be. A dream I move. Oh, I move. A dream I grew.
Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I'm gonna be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Oh, be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Oh, be like Mike.
It began not with a clean sheet of paper, but with a 75-year history. A history of building automobiles that make the most of the driver's skill. Because how you drive is as important as what you drive, BMW introduces a car that could improve both. The BMW 325 IS Coupe. Casio presents some of the hottest new faces in sports. He's 7'1", standing still, but when he lifts off, that's another story. He goes basket to basket in seconds flat. And energy, he's got plenty to burn. David Robinson and Casio, because Casio watches do more than keep time. They keep you ahead of the game.
Little flimsy. It's made of cardboard and cotton. Yet no other headgear comes more strongly recommended by the NFL.
Welcome back. The 49ers are up next, 10-20 to pick in their first round. Frustrated, very frustrated earlier about their inability to make a deal with the Raiders on Steve Young. Fred Edelstein rejoins us. Now with this pick, are they thinking running back? And if so, did they roll the dice? Because they know that the Falcons, who pick next, also want a running back.
Well, Chris, I think that the 49ers have to be really ecstatic here. They came into this draft hoping to get a safety and a running back. The reason they wanted to make the trade for Steve Young was they wanted to get both of them in the first round. It turns out that the highest rated guys on their board are still available. Their highest rated running back was Vaughn Dunbar. There were some in the organization who liked Tommy Vardell, but most liked Vaughn Dunbar. At safety, they love Dale Carter. There are also people there that like Darrell Williams. Right now, they're sitting there and they have their pick of any of those guys. I kind of think it'll probably be Dunbar, although in the 49ers organization, they will tell you that safety is their #1 pick.
We won't have to wait very long to find out if you're right. The pick has already been made, and Paul Tagliabue has the 49ers choice. Brady says Vaughn Dunbar.
If they take Tony Smith,
With the 18th choice, the San Francisco 49ers select Dana Hall, defensive back, University of Washington.
They lied.
So they cross us up and don't go with a running back. They go with a defensive back instead. Another need for their team, no doubt.
Well, I'll tell you, they were telling me Carter and they were telling me Darrell Williams, but I do know that, as I said right before we went to this pick, that they felt that their number one need was safety. They felt that their whole defense corralled around that. Now, they also like Dunbar. I think, if they would have made that deal with the Raiders, it would have been Glenn Dunbar and Dana Hall.
So there are running backs there for the Falcons who are up next. And Chris, the 49ers, maybe they're looking for the next Ronnie Lott. If there is one on the planet, they go defensive back with Dana Hall.
Well, I think, Chris, that's a very good comment that you just made, sending it over here. I'll tell you exactly why the Niners made that move. They do not any longer, except for Charles Haley, which we'll mention in a moment, they've got a very nice defense, but they don't have guys that make big plays like they used to, like a Ronnie Lott. They want to very much to get a big enforcer-type safety. That's why they went with Dana Hall over Darrell Williams, a safety who just brings it with size and forces things. So Dana Hall is well, he's certainly a first-round pick, but also a slight need pick for them. They've drafted running backs high in the early rounds the last 3 years with Henderson and Dexter Carter and also with Ricky Water. They've done that. Now they have a chance to try and rebuild what they once had in Ronnie Lott and a fearsome safety. So that's the Dana Hall pick, and if you add that up, Mel, then it makes sense.
Yeah, here's a guy who was a former cornerback, he played there, is going to be projected to safety, and when you look at Dana Hall, you see size, when you're looking at a guy at 6'2", 202 pounds, runs exceptionally well, and has proven to be a matchup cover corner. So now if you're going to move him into safety, a position he played early in his career, you feel he'll be ideal at that spot. Comes up to really handle the run responsibilities with a lot of aggressiveness, deflecting the pass away here against Stanford, and Christian Walk, their fine wide receiver. Here, coming up in the Japan Bowl, where he's the defensive MVP in that football game. And really, that was the game that really moved him up from maybe the third round into a possible third or first round position. You look at the hand injury we talked about in that car accident, but that's not something of concern. He got the hand caught in a fan belt of a friend's car when he was helping him fix the car, but it wasn't something that lately has concerned NFL teams. They think he'll be certainly ready for training camp, ready to go, and a guy that can play cornerback or safety.
MVP in that East-West Shrine game played out in the Bay Area. The safety depth chart, now remember, they got Dave Waymer a couple of years ago in Plan B to kind of replace Ronnie Lott. He, too, has followed Lott to the Raiders. So what they have are the starters, Bowles and Jackson. They don't have guys that picked up Thane Gash Plan B, guys to make big plays. They're pretty comfortable with Griffin on one corner, Pollard okay at the other one. But safety, does it make sense, Tom?
Big plays and big hits, yeah, it does. I think that what they've missed, and they missed it last year, even though Dave Waymer had a good year, he wasn't the hitter that Ronnie Lott was. You watch this kid play in an all-star game, the one thing that you come away with is that he is a tremendous hitter, and I think that's what they're looking for, somebody to intimidate in their secondary.
I'll tell you what else, lost in the fact that the Steve Young trade never went down. There was some talk quietly a couple days ago that maybe Charles Haley underwent rotator cuff surgery, but is fine. I think he's going to be a better player. The Detroit was interested in Charles Haley. Now that San Francisco has picked, I mean, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. That sort of trade kind of waned in the last day or so. And if that was the case, then they would have had to replace a Haley. But Haley can make big plays. They hope Dana Hall can make big plays. That's what the Niners were thinking. Falcons are next.
Not that old lawn equipment again.
Last year, he nearly jerked me up by the roots.
Wait a minute. All new home light equipment.
I told you he knows a great value when he sees one.
Look, it's a home light blower and a string trimmer.
Yes.
A home light hedge trimmer and chainsaw and a new home light mulching mower.
I love it when he gets environmental.
Just a little off the top, please. Do it right. Do it home light.
You'll find home light equipment at Ace Lawnmower Service in Miami.
Fresh Florida colors from Benjamin Moore. We have more colors than Florida has oranges. Pick Florida's best. Pick Benjamin Moore.
On sale now at Berry's on US 1 in Homestead. Call 248-8822.